Good morning. My name is Karen Verdida. I am from Group 2, and my topic is service quality concepts and inventions pertinent to tourism, hospitality, and leisure and services.
So let's proceed to assurance. Assurance reflects the knowledge and courtesy of employees and their ability to inspire trust and confidence. This means how knowledgeable, polite, and professional employees are when staff know what they're doing and treat customers with respect. Customers feel safe, confident, and trusting. Next, we have empathy. Involves the caring, individualized attentions the firm provides its customers. This is about caring. It means giving customers personal attentions, listening to their needs, and making them feel understood and valued, not treated like just another number. So, we have customer service has a direct impact on the customer's level of satisfaction, which in turn ultimately reflects on the service provider's bottom line. Customer service directly is affects how satisfied customers feel. When service is good, customers are happier, more loyal, and it helps the business success. Finally, we have number one, improve guest convenience. Many services contribute to the guest sense of convenience, comfort, and well-being. So, improved guest convenience it's a good service make guests feel comfortable, relaxed, and well taken care of. When things are easy and convenient, guests enjoy their experience more. And number two, enhance services providers' image. The number and quality of service offered establishes the image of the service provider, which means the quality and variety of service offered shape how people see the business. Better service create a positive image and reputations, making customers more likely to return and recommend it. So, we have monetary exchange. Between service providers and guests require careful considerations. This refers to all payments and billing between the service provider and the guest. It needs to be handled carefully to avoid confusions, errors, or dissatisfactions. And guest checkout point of departure signals the last chance for personal, face to face contact with the guest. So, this is the face to face interactions with the guest, is the final chance to leave a good impressions, say thank you, and handle any last concerns. So, that's the important for doing for the staff. And we have after leaving the premises of the service provider, the service experience is not yet complete. So after even after guests leave, the service experience isn't over yet. What the business does afterward still affects how guests feel about their experience. Survey provided near the time of departure that can be and completed and returned and so on. So surveys, these are given near or after departure so guests can share feedback about their experience. Surveys help businesses know what they will and what needs improvement. Assessment enable the service provider to identify whether the appropriate services were provided. Assessment allow the service provider to evaluate whether the right service were delivered and if customer expectations were met. Then service is not provided out of thin air but rather through interactions customers have with HTL organizations. The service kuno is service doesn't just happen magically. It is created through interactions between customers and hospitality tourism organizations. Then we have people. Analysis reveals the distinct groups of people who participate in the customer's experience of quality service. So we have number one, customer, number two, employees, three, management. So people analytics shows the quality service doesn't depend on just one group. Instead, three main groups work together to create a good customer experience. Then next, we have a customer perception of quality in an HTL context depends on his or her expectations. In a hotel HTL context, a customer's idea of service quality is based on what they expect before and during their stay. If the hotel service meets or exceeds the guest's expectations, the customer will think the quality is good or excellent. If the service falls below their expectations, the customer will think the quality is poor, even if the service is quality okay. Then we have recognitions of the integrations. Recognitions of the integrations of departmental functions enable employees to see greater value in their own role as components providers of. So, when employees understand how different departments are integrated, like work together, they are able to see the greater value for their own role as contributors to quality service. In other words, a hotel or organization has many departments like front office, housekeeping, kitchen, maintenance, and so on. These departments are connected and depend on each other. When employees recognize these connections, they realize that their job matter in the overall service experience. Timelines would be critical determ, determinant of customer service as would responsive to customer needs. Time is very important factor in customer service. How fast a service is delivered and how quickly staff respond to customer needs strongly affect customer satisfactions. In other words, customers expect service to be done on time. They also expect staff to respond quickly when they ask for help or have a problem. Next, we have neutrals. Have the have the smallest impact on customer service evaluations. Uh, so neutrals is for me bisan gamay nga problema as a staff sa company dapat imo ng self like big problem para sa imo because they say the small impact on customer kamay sa problema sa customer kay they complain but for you ikay mo solve. So, dako kay na sa imuha. You have to solve the problem the customer like they're nabasilay ka ng pangutana or na sila i-complain na they don't like. So, yeah, that's the neutrals. And we have handling service problems. Number one, history, previous experience of success and failure. So when handling services problem, past experience matter. The history of previous successes and failures affects how service problems are handled in the present. In other words, if an organization has successfully solved problems before, it learns what works. Has failed before, it learns what to avoid. This part experience guide how staff and management respond to current service issues. Number two, context or organizational characteristic. This is complicated by the numerous stakeholders involved in a DMS. Alright, the way an organization operates, its context or characteristics becomes more complex because many different stakeholders are involved in a DMS. In other words, context or organization characteristics is the structure, culture, policies, and environment of organizations. And for the stakeholders, kanang all people or groups with an interest in the system, management, employees, customers, suppliers, partners, government, and etc. DMS is decision management system, destination management system. Okay. Depending on your subject involves many parties because many stakeholders are involved, their different goals, expectations, and interests make management and decision making more complicated. Moni ang the context or organizational characteristic. So, number three, external context. Okay. External context pressures from governmental agencies or competitive pressures. So, refers to outside forces that influence an organizations such as pressures from government agencies or competitions. In other words, context, external context factors outside the organization's control or governmental pressures, laws, regulations, inspections, or policies that the organizations must follow. Competitive pressures, pressures to perform better because of rival businesses offering similar services. Number four, content. The size and complexity of the project, the number and variety of participating entities. Here refers to what the project involves, how big and complicated it is, and how many different people or groups are taking part. In other words, size and complexity is how large the project is and how difficult it is to manage. Number and variety of participating entities, how many different organizations, departments, or people are involved and how different they are from each other. Number five, process, the way the implementation is structured project management. To how the project is carried out or manage the steps, methods, and structure used to implement it. In other words, implementation is actually doing or executing the project, and structure project management is following an organized plan with clear steps, rules, and timelines to get things done efficiently. Number six, risk outcomes. How closely the outcomes are tied to participant goals and objectives. Refer to the results of a project or actions and how much they affect the goals of the people involved. In other words, outcomes is what actually happens at end of a project or actions, tied to participants' goals and objectives. Whether the results help, harm, or don't affect the people's intended targets. And risk is the chance that the outcomes might not match the goals. We're here the topic of giving the risk associated with technology implementation in DMS, Griffiths and Wilcox recommended for local. And number one, governance. The ability of major participants to reach consensus on objectives, resource allocations, and the decision-making process. Recommendations made by Griffiths and Wilcox regarding the risk associated with implementing technology in data management system or similar organizational system. They recommended focusing on four case areas, the first of which is governance. Next, number two, project management. There is a multi-directional flow of information involving localized input and clear directions. This point describes a communication structure where information flows in multiple directions. It involves both localized input from various sources and a clear, overarching directions or guidance for the project. The next, number three, market need. An identifiable need for the DMS exists, which may be predicted on, so on, is its refers to the existence of an identifiable demand or necessity for a specific system or service. This need might be critical for the economic survival of the people or organized involved. So that's all. Thank you.